All right. Hey, Kayleigh, how are you?
Hey, Bill. I'm so glad to be here. I'm just happy
you.
in a good mood.
I'm
Lots
happy
of
to have you
laughs.
back in the studio with me. So I know we kind of coming up to today, we talked about maybe having a conversation around business planning. It's the end of the year, and we're coming up into the holidays. People are going to start looking into 2026 and what they're going to do to 10x their business. So tell me a little bit, like, what are your thoughts and plans? Like, what do you want to do with your next year? What are you hoping to do to build your business up?
So the way that I go about business planning, I feel like I used to not have any plan at all, and it was not very, I don't know, I wouldn't get accomplished the things I wanted to do. This is before I worked at Portsmouth Atlantic Insurance. This is maybe like even before real estate. And I just wasn't accomplishing, I don't know, like personal goals or business goals really. And so I started to read all these self-help books, and I started to get it's getting nuts, Bill. I'll tell you all about it, but it's like a really big scale. Like I take out a calendar, take out the calendar, and go, okay, this is what I want to do this year. Let me tell you where this all started from. Back in the day, I felt like I wanted to be doing like more fun things. Like I wanted to be going to more concerts. I wanted to be going on more trips, and I wasn't doing those things. And honestly, I think it blamed it on like ex-boyfriends and stuff. I wasn't doing them. And I was like, okay, I can't be blaming this on anybody else. I got to plan out what I want to do for the year and not be like wasting vacation time, because that's another thing I would do. I've always had great vacation time at any of the jobs I've worked at, and I would squander it. I would feel like at the end of the year, I'd be like, what did I do? Like I didn't go on any trips. I just took off random days here and there. Like what am I doing with my precious time? That's like my personal time.
Seriously.
And so I started getting really intentional about it. And I would take out my calendar, and I would say, okay, I've got this much time off. Like, how can I maximize it? Like, what weekends could I do so I can stretch out like a long weekend or whatever and use less vacation time, but have a whole week off? Or like, where do I want to go? Whatever. So I would list out like my main goals. And this was, like I said, just personal stuff at the time. I was like, okay, I want to go see this concert, and I want to go travel to this place, and maybe I want to go see XYZ friends like across the country. But then it started going, as the more I did this, because now I think this is probably like my 6th or 7th year of doing it like this. It stemmed into like health and what races do I want to run this year? How many races do I want to run? What lengths? Or like how do I want to eat? Or how much sleep do I want to get? And then it was like work. It was like how much money do I want to make? What do I need my commissions to be every single month? How many meetings? And I just would start super broad and then drill all the way down to the daily activities. And I definitely set the goals way too lofty. Like they're pretty big goals every year, but
I always love that people say, oh, I don't want to set too unrealistic goals, but I almost like setting unrealistic goals.
I do like that for myself, because I always am sitting there with the pressure in the back of my head where it's like, well, I want to get to this. I want to get to this. And even if I don't get to it, at least it's more progress than the year before.
Exactly.
It's like maybe it does bum me out when I don't reach my goals. Like I really wanted to run the New York Marathon this year. I didn't get into it. That bummed me out all year. But it's like, you know what? I'll train for other races in the meantime. So there's just different things you can do even if you don't hit the big goal. Or like last year, I wanted to run the Boston Marathon under 4 hours. And I did 4 hours and 15 minutes or something like that. I was like, oh, it's a bummer. But you know what? I still finished the race. Like, so
4 hours and 15 minutes. Darn.
Yeah, loser.
God. What are you even doing with your life?
Yeah. So that's kind of like that's kind of the big level, like what I do. But if you looked at my little spreadsheets and my papers that I do this on, you'd be like, this person's crazy. Because even my friendships, I'll be like, I want to have a better relationship with this person. I'll write their name on them. And I'm like, hey, I got to make sure I call this whatever. It's nuts. It's too much. It's crazy person.
No, behavior. I love that though, actually, because I mean, what's that really, really cliche? Like if you don't, what is it? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah,
right? That's what it is. Like something like that. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I have that type A, like, I want to make lists and I want to, set everything up. And I pull out my calendar. I'll go through anytime, like, even my kids' like school calendar comes out for the year, and I go through and I put on all the days off and all the early releases. And I just put it onto my calendar because I like live and die by my calendar. Same. So like, if I know about it, I put it on there. We were talking about it. I was at a meeting earlier today, and we were talking about like getting engagement and people showing up to things. And it's like, why aren't they showing up? Oh, people say they're busy. Yeah, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Everybody's busy. And I get you can't go to everything, but it's what you prioritize. And if you know well ahead of time, which a lot of these things we know about well ahead of time, put it on your calendar and then you work around it. And if something really important comes up and you can't go, then you can't go, or you have to adjust it. But to me, I want to fill my calendar up as early as possible so I know exactly what I'm doing. Because every week, like on Sunday, I sit down and I look at my calendar for the week. What do I have going on this week? What do I need to be prepared for? Every night before I go to bed, what do I have going on tomorrow? What do I need to make sure to have for clothing? Like, am I meeting somebody that I need to dress up a little bit, or can I just wear jeans and a hoodie, or like, because like, so for me, I love the idea of planning. Yeah. So I love that.
Even though it's a little much.
Even though it's a little neurotic. I don't know that I sit there and I go, which friends do I want to have a better relationship with? But that probably makes you a really good friend.
Sometimes. It's like if I just envision the life that I want to have on the big scale, because then if you think about it that way and then drill down to the very smallest behaviors every day, and then I do put it on my calendar, I will put like every goal I have on there. Yeah. I like tentatively say like, oh, I want to run these races. It looks like there's on these days or whatever, or like I'll put a trip in there. I'll be like, this is vacation week. I don't know where I'm going yet, but this week's whatever. So I'll put it on the calendar. But if I do that, then I at least am making progress to where the life that I want to have. Like, I do feel pretty good about my life and the things I have in it, and like relationships and time off and work. I'm like, things are good. I'm pretty happy little human. So it's working. I think it's working.
I worked with a coaching program some years ago that, shout out Mortgage Marketing Animals and Carl White. A lot of people know who he is, but he had this whole kind of planning your how do I put it? He set it up like you plan from the top down, right? What's your perfect life look like? Like, what do you want? What do you want? In 10 years, I want to have this kind of house, and I want to have a house on the lake, and I want to have a boat, and I want to have, it doesn't matter. And really like go really, really deep. But just like I said, those unattainable. Yeah. And he's like, it's not unattainable necessarily, but it's just like, go like your perfect life plan, like go over list out your perfect life. I want to go on a vacation to Europe every year. I want to see concerts, whatever you want, right? What life do you want to live? And then you say, okay, what is that going to cost? And you figure out, get an idea on, okay, this house is going to cost me this much. Is it going to cost, if I want to go on these trips, that's going to cost me this much. Okay, I need to make X amount of money a year to afford that lifestyle, which is probably an astronomical number. Right. But then you say, okay, to afford that, to have that much money a year, I need to close this many deals. Right. All right. So I'm going to close this many deals. It's a lot of deals. Okay. Well, how am I going to close this many deals? Well, and you just literally keep going down the rungs of the ladder, right? Okay. So if I'm going to close this many deals, I need to have this many leads. How am I going to get this many? Okay. I need this many leads a year, which means breaks out to this many a month, which breaks out to this many a week, which breaks out to this many a day. Yep. How am I going to get those leads? Because I need to have X amount of leads per day to have X amount of closings, to have X amount of money, to have this life that I want. Yep. Right. So I love that you get very granular about it, because I think that's something that people forget about. They say, okay, I'm going to do my business planning, and they take out a sheet of paper and they're like, I want to make this much money this year. I want to get this much this, or I want to do, but you got to really set the plan. And it also, doing it that way, builds in the why. Yeah. Like, why do I want to make this much money? And maybe you don't want to have 3 houses and go to Europe every year. Maybe you just want to have, a condo and a cat and go to concerts every year. Yep. Everybody's perfect life is different, right? Totally different. With that, right? Nothing's wrong with that. No. And that's my point, is that you set up your perfect life. Yeah. Right. And then how do I attain that? Well, I do this, I do this, I do this. This is what it's going to cost to have that lifestyle. This is what I need to do to make that happen.
Yeah, I like that thought too, because I don't necessarily think I've been like saying, oh, this is the lifestyle that I haven't been that explicit about it. I'm not like, this is the life that I want and I'm reaching towards or whatever. But I guess like I am doing that by the way that I'm processing. But I like that better because it does set the why. And if you're like, okay, this is the life I want, how do I achieve that? Then you can break it down.
Right. And then if you have that there, very, very explicit. In your day to day, it's like, oh, I need to talk to this many people a day. Why am I doing this? This is why, because I have this greater goal, and it's not a this year goal. It's in my lifetime, I want to have these things. To afford that, I need to do this to make that happen. Right. And I don't want it to sound too like materialistic. It could be a lot of things. I want to spend more time with my family. Well, how do I spend more time with my family? I focus on this, or,
Right.
whatever your perfect life is, right? And then you kind of retrofit your goals to that. And then the next step, of course, is, okay, well, I need to get this many leads per day, or I have to have these many conversations to get this many leads, or whatever. And then how do I do that? Now let's break that down, right?
And
you come up with plan to make that happen.
What I think it's cool about having the plan too is at the end of the year, when I'm doing it, like I'm reviewing what I did the last year, and I'm saying, okay, what goals did I hit? What did I not hit? And you can kind of clearly see, I'm like, okay, well, I didn't run this many miles this week, so that's why my time wasn't this great or whatever. Like, because you track it all. I track
You're
it
big
all.
on tracking?
I track.
I have a feeling you are.
Yeah. Well, there's a saying, this is so funny. In college, I had a list of goals on my bulletin board, like in my room, and my friend Jake came by, and he wrote a sticky note on it. Didn't say a word to me. I just saw the sticky note later on, and I still have it. And he said, you need to make your goals more specific, because my goals were like, get better grades in chemistry or something like that, or run more, eat healthier. But if you don't quantify what you're doing,
what does eat healthier mean?
Yeah, right. Then you're never going to make any progress, which you can probably see it in meetings with me, Bill. I feel like I get this way when I'm in meetings with people, and they're like, oh, we need to do more of this. And I'm like, okay, how are we going to do it? Who's going to do it? And what's that look like? It's like, we need to have these things, like what gets measured matters, I think. Like, there's a saying, I always butcher it. I don't think that's exactly it. It's not what gets measured matters, the exact saying, but it's to that effect.
Yeah.
And I have that written in a bunch of different places in my house. Because I think if you don't track things, then how do you know if you're making progress? Right. How do you know if you're like reaching what you want?
A terrible confession. I am the worst at tracking things. And
everyone has different strategies.
No, I should have that strategy. I am so terrible at tracking. And I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I was, I said, like, I'm up like 70% this year in volume. I'm doing really, really great. And I have this goal to hit this. And he was like, yeah, and he says, what are you doing? Are you tracking this? And I was like, no, I'm not really tracking a lot. And he says, okay, so how are you getting all this business? And I'm like, my personality?
Probably yes, Bill. You have the best personality.
Thank you. But he kind of, gave me a little bit of a smackdown, which I needed, by the way. And it was, yep, that's about as far as your personality is going to get you.
Huh.
And he said, and across the board with people that like, you can get to that level just on personality. After that, you've got to have process.
In order to scale.
You've got to be able to scale beyond that point, you really need to drill down in process. You need to drill down, and to be able to know the process, you've got to be tracking.
Yeah.
And I am so terrible. I could track, I'll track for a week. I'll track for 2 weeks. I'm great about it. And then life happens, and I am just so terrible at tracking. That's literally like one of my probably my number one goal for 2026 is to be better with tracking.
It definitely helps.
And I need to set up something measurable, I know, with that. But just I'm still working them out, but it's definitely like the number one on my list is I need to do better with tracking my progress, because I don't know how many conversations a week I'm having. I don't even know how many leads a week I'm getting in, or who I'm getting them from. And it's terrible, because I go back and I go, oh yeah, this realtor gave me this lead, and then I've just got to have to go back through. It's like, oh, hey, who's giving me all the leads? Who's, where's most of my business coming from? And I have no idea, because I'm not tracking it. Yeah. I'm not tracking how many hours I'm working in prospecting, or what I'm doing, how many social media posts I'm doing. I'm just doing it. And yeah, it's working, because obviously my business is up and I'm doing well, but I could be doing so much better. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what's helped me in that realm of like actually keeping track of everything is accountability buddies. I do have running partners that I'll run with, or like in my stupid Apple Watch now, I've got my friends on there, and they'll say like there's challenges, mm-hmm. So they'll be like, I worked out today, and then I'll get a text message and be like, so you didn't do anything, lazy. And like, whatever. But but for us at Portsmouth Atlantic, we have like a weekly team meeting where we all have our we have metric section, and we have like 3 or 4 goals. So mine is how many leads, and then meetings with like one-to-one meetings, and then events are kind of usually my categories. Mm-hmm. And it'll be like every week, what's the goal? Okay, 5 one-on-one meetings. Did I hit it? nope, got to say that in front of everybody, which is just, and then we track it over time too. So it's like,
it's the Weight Watchers thing. Why is Weight Watchers so successful with people, right? I don't know that they're super successful, but like why
back in the day,
why were they so successful? Because people had to show up at a meeting and get on a scale.
Yeah.
Every week. It wasn't like, do this diet at home. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm just not going to get away myself. Or you get on the scale, like, I'm going to lie about it. Like, right. But if you actually have to get up, like you're paying somebody for this information, right? You have to get up and you need to get on that scale, and the scale doesn't lie, right? Yeah. You're going to try to be better, right? And then when you do, and they give you all the praise, you're like, yes. And when you don't, and they're like,
you're like, I got to get my butt in gear.
You feel bad, and you need to do better next time, right? So I totally agree with accountability partners. I actually have, so one of my coworkers here at Total, she reached out to me last month, and she was like, I had an idea. We need to do like a little friendly competition. Yeah. And I was like, I'm down. I love a friendly competition. I'm not a competitive person in that, like, I get like,
you're so collaborative, Bill.
I'm very collaborative. Yes. No, like, I'm not like I cut people up, but
a good little competitive spirit.
I am like friendly competitive. Yeah. I am a like, I just like look at reports and I was like, I just want to be above these, whatever. I'm very friendly competitive. Yeah. And so I was like, I love that. I love that idea. Tell me what your idea is. And she's like, I think that we need to like focus on how many pre-approvals we're doing in a month, because leads turn into pre-approvals turn into loans, right? Yep. Not all of them. And that's the whole point. The more pre-approvals you can get, it stands to reason the more loans we're going to close a month. So she's like, we need to have a competition between us, and whoever gets more pre-approvals in the month, we're gonna have a standing date the first week of every month. We're gonna go out to lunch, and whoever lost buys lunch. Great. And then we're getting together and we're being collaborative at lunch because we enjoy each other's company anyway. Yep. So that's a fun thing that we get to go have lunch together. And I mean, we're not talking about crazy amounts of money. It's lunch, right? And just buying each other lunch. Yeah. So we started in November. Wouldn't you know, we tied in units of pre-approval, and the tiebreaker is the volumes of how high the loan amounts, whatever. So I beat her by like $60,000, which, by the way, is minuscule amount, right? So I beat her by like $60,000. So she paid for lunch on last week. But what amazed me is I'd never really paid attention. We get reports every single day. Yep. Every single day. Okay, you had this many pre-approvals, you had this many locked, you had this many applications, you had this many closed. Every day we get month to date, then we get the year to date ones, like all this kind of stuff. And I never really pay close attention. Every so often I look and I go, Can I tell you, I looked at those reports every single day, right? And honestly, I could probably go back and look at old reports. I couldn't tell you how many pre-approvals I was doing per month prior to November. No clue. I mean, I was closing loans. I have no idea how many pre-approvals I was doing. And I should actually go back and see how many I did compared to how many loans I closed. Right. Just to kind of get like a baseline. So she and I tied. There were 5 of us in the company that got the same amount. Mind you, they're not in the competition. It's just the 2 of us. But the 5 of us tied for 3rd place in the whole company. Oh, wow. For pre-approvals. Huh.
How funny is that? In the whole company?
In the whole company, for the month of November, we tied for 3rd place with the amount of pre-approvals that came in. Is that coincidence? Maybe. I have no idea. Because I still have to look. I have no idea how many I was doing before that. Right. But, so we were like, okay. We did this much. So we said, I think it was like 12 pre-approvals that we completed in the month of November. And we had lunch, we were like, all right, well, we need to up the ante a little bit. Yeah. It's still just going to be based like who does more, but we're like, all right, let's try 30% better. Let's go to 16. Let's see if we can hit 16 this month. Right.
And that's so cool because you can talk about, you're like, okay, well, what worked well this month?
Yeah, like, what did you do? What didn't I do? Yeah. And what can I do to get more? And I sit there every morning, I'm getting up, I'm like, okay, how am I going to get more pre-approvals right now? Right. Which is that's like, if I get more pre-approvals, I actually had a conversation with one of our executive team leaders, and I asked him when he was a loan officer, I said, what was your like biggest driving factor to your success? Like, what did you focus on? He said, pre-approvals. I wanted to get 1 pre-approval every single day. Wow. Because if I could get 30 pre-approvals in a month, then I knew I could close 10 loans.
Huh. Amazing.
So it was like, great.
So I think that the goal setting is so important, but the reflection is really where like that's where the money gets made, because then you can say like, this is what habits I'm doing every day that are leading to this result that I want to get more of, you know?
Right.
Or what things aren't working. It's like, yeah, throw that away, which is why I like the end of year review and then planning. Cause it's like, all right, I got to look at everything I've done.
Right. Which the end of your review, but now the way that we're going to keep doing
once
this.
A month
we're doing
better.
it every month. We're going to keep doing it as long as we both agree to do it every single month. And I'll tell you, so already in the month of December, we're here filming on the 4th of December, and I've had 3 pre-approvals already in the books.
Amazing.
Like, and who knows, I haven't had one today yet, but the day's still not over.
That's right.
Right. So it's like, I'm just going to try to focus on a pre-approval every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are going to be days that I won't get one, but if I can get on most days, or at least half of the days, you know, and so that's just been my focus. And the fact that I'm looking at that report every single day now and saying, okay, where am I? And then that the competition comes in, not just with her, but it's like today, I think I was like number 4 in the whole company.
Yeah.
We're only 4 days in, like
right.
We're only 3 days of data. Right. So it doesn't really matter much, but there's only 2 people that have had 3 pre-approvals so far this month. And I'm one of 2 of them. So it's like, and there's a whole lot of people that have had 0.
What a good way to make accountability fun too, to have the competition like that. I love that.
Right.
That's a great way to do it.
Yeah. And we just make it like we enjoy each other. Let's go out to lunch, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just whoever lost buys the other one lunch, and neither one of us cares honestly who loses or wins.
Yeah.
In the end, that's not what matters. What matters is we're both winning because we're both pushing each other to do better.
Exactly.
So
I love that, Bill.
So so that is a really good like test case for why tracking actually helps.
Yeah.
Right? Because I can see I'm tracking how many pre-approvals am I getting. And so because I'm focusing on that, it's almost like it's manifesting, right? Because I'm focusing on that. And so if I can get enough pre-approvals, I can get enough close, and I can hit my goals.
What other things do you think you're trying to, like, what goals do you have for next year? Do you think but you don't have to talk about if you want to mention them or not, but what other goals do you have for next year?
So, I mean, I need to work on honing in process better.
Yeah.
I feel like oftentimes I'm flying by the seat of my pants. And yeah, I'm getting by. And I'm closing loans and people are happy.
It's us extroverts, man. We're like, it's bubbly happy. We don't want to do the details. We just want to hang out.
Yeah, just hang out and do it. But I need to, like, literally, I already have kind of in my head, I've been setting up, like, I need to really assess what I'm doing on a daily basis. And I need to maybe back away a little bit from, you know, leadership roles in organizations. Yeah. And, you know, I love to be involved. I'm the involved guy, and I'll help plan this event. I think that's just like my nature, but I need to say no more.
Yeah.
I need to get much better at, you know, it's like a drug. Just say no. I need to get way better. I had a friend tell
me, they were like, make your default no. Like, that's what you should. So anytime anyone asks you a question, you say no first, and then you can go back and say, actually, yes, that's something I want to do. And I've practiced that for like a month after he told me that, and then I forgot about it. It's just the people pleaser yes man to me. But I think that's probably a good piece of advice for you too, Bill. It's just say no right away, and then you can come back to it if you feel like actually doing it.
Yeah. I think it's because, I mean, you and I both know it can take up a lot of our time.
Oh yeah. Once people know you're willing to do stuff, they'll keep asking.
And it's like volunteer. I'm not getting paid to do all these things, you know? So I said, I'm still gonna, I definitely want to make an effort to attend things and go to networking events and be a part of in that way as an attendee for stuff. But I want to back away from being the planner and the helper. Like that all aboard that we did in the fall. I know you planned that, and that was a great event. I got on that boat and people were asking like, oh, Bill, did such a great job in this event. And I'm like, I had nothing to do with this event. Thank God. But people just assumed that I did because I just did so much. And I'm like, no, I need to back away. People are assuming I'm doing events, I'm planning events that I had nothing to do with. Yeah. That's a problem. I need to back away because that's the default now is, oh yeah, Bill's part of everything. Yeah. So I have to back away from that. So back to my process, I need to when I get a lead, what do I do? And what kind of time frame do I do that? How soon do I reach back out to them? How soon do I do follow up? Send them the pre-approval. Like I really want to set up like a really good, like a flow chart of how it goes and how my loan officer assistant comes in and what she does and in the timeline. So I can set expectations for her and we can have expectations of me. Like I'm going to do this within this amount of time. She's going to do this within this amount of time, and then this is going to, like, it's just going to go to this process here. How often are we going to, reach out and ask for documents from people? Is it going to be daily? Is it going to be every other day? Is it going to be weekly? What situation? So we know what's expected of each other so we can work well together. More what's expected of me because I feel like I drop the ball more than she does on these kind of things. And I'll be like, are we waiting on this? And she goes, you were supposed to do this.
So funny, Bill, because I imagine like you're dropping the ball, it's not even really dropping the ball. You're so good. You're so on top of it. You're such a good loan officer. So I feel like you're probably just hard on yourself. I do the same thing
I'm just
too.
lucky.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
I'm just lucky. And that's just it. But I wake up in the morning and I go, oh my God, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. And then I can't like relax.
Yeah.
Because I'm constantly like, oh, what did I forget something? So I want to set up this process so that I know nothing's been forgotten. I know what's expected of me. I know when I wake up in the morning or I go sit at my computer, these are the things I have to do today.
Yep.
And I've been really, really negligent with that. And I need to focus more on that. I think the tracking is part of that, right?
Yep. I feel like I started doing that more we have like it's kind of like a coach that my boss, John, he talks to her and then I talk to her as business development. And I think she actually is just like our CFO. She's like, we contract her out or whatever, but she's just like my coach. And so she'll sit there with me once a month and she'll say, okay, like what leads are you converting? And then we'll go through and be like, okay, these are the meetings I had. These are the events I had. Like, this is what I did. Like, I definitely got some appointments from this. This person sent me a lead. And like having her, again, I guess it's just that accountability partner, but having her to go through it with me to be like, and then we will talk about processes too. She's like, okay, what is your process when you go to an event? Like, what are you doing? How many names are you getting? And I'm like, oh, names. Like I'm meeting people, of course, but I'm not necessarily all the time saying like, oh, who here do I not know? And do I need to set a meeting with,
right.
That's what I should be doing. And it's good to like, now we have an event process outlined. Like there are things on there that I should be reading before I go to an event and then doing those tasks when I'm there. So it's that's just another way that the accountability buddy kind of helps me to have her. And I said to her, I was like, I need this because I do struggle with it on my own.
I just ordered a new box of business cards because I was running low on my business cards. And I realized that the last few events I went to, I didn't even have them in my pocket. Yeah. And there were people that asked me for them. And I'm like, oh, I don't have any on me. And I'm like, how dumb is that of me to like walk into a networking event and not have business cards? And I was told really on in my career, and I totally like disregarded this advice, which was great advice. But when you go, she like one of my very first mentor in the business said, take 10 business cards in with you. And don't leave until all 10 of them are given out.
Oh, that is great advice.
And I've heard people say before, like, go to an event and receive X amount or 10 business cards and don't leave until you get, because I would go to an event and I would be like, oh, I don't know these people. And I would go stand with people I already knew. Well, what's the point in being there then?
Yeah.
I like to, I'll see Kayleigh at an event and I would love to hang out with Kayleigh.
But we're already doing business together.
Really, we're already doing business together. So I love that. And we can sit and do this and we can do other things to build on our friendship and relationship. If I'm going to a networking event, I'm going there to meet new people.
Right.
But I think also I've held back on meeting new people and doing networking with new people because I feel very self-conscious about the process that's not there. I want to have a really good process in line. And I feel like, I fly by the seat of my pants. If I'm going to bring on new realtor partners or referral partners, I want to make sure that I've got this process set.
Yeah. Some people are so good with that too. And I'm striving. I feel like John and I have been pretty focused on processes. He's definitely been more, and I need to be better about it myself. But just to sit there and think, okay, so when I do meet with the realtor, for example, like how am I communicating with them? What am I bringing when I see them at the meeting? Like, am I looking them up beforehand? Do I know like all their history or not? Or what am I leaving them with? How am I following up with them? These are things that I've started to like newly kind of work on myself. And some people just have it down. And I feel like it does make it's so much more efficient. It's so much more scalable, and you can do the same thing every time.
Have you read Mr. Schmooze?
No.
Read Mr. Schmooze. It's a short book.
Yeah.
And it's one of those like allegorical, like it tells a story, but
Yeah.
you learn lessons in it about business. But it's all about, I mean, the name Mr. Schmooze, it's all about how to build relationships with people.
Yep.
And the whole thing is like the main character is the assistant to Mr. Schmooze. And so Mr. Schmooze comes in and he tells him to do this, and he shows, and he's like, wow, you can do this. Like, and Mr. Schmooze goes way over the top with a lot of things, right? Way more than we probably would do. Like he like meets with a client and goes and has their car washed while they're meeting with him. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which in some business settings, that is absolutely a great idea. But the point being, the end result is just, it's that follow-up. It's that those little things. It's like finding something in your conversation that you can go back to, that you know, if you hear that they really are big, you know, you're talking to somebody and you find out that they really like Reese's peanut butter cups, send them some Reese's peanut butter cups. You know, like it's simple as that.
Thoughtful touches.
But those little thoughtful things, like, oh my gosh, they were listening to me. Oh my gosh, you know, they thought about me later. And you're not going to come off as super salesy. You're just saying, hey, you know, whatever, or, you know, I saw this. I was talking to, you know, I have a realtor that mentioned, she's like, I'm doing a beach Christmas theme at my house this year. So, you know, so I've been looking for something like a beachy Christmas, like an ornament or something that I can give her.
I think that's so nice too, because our industry is just so go, go, go all the time, and you're meeting so many people and so many things are happening. But if you can slow down and think about that person and do something thoughtful like that, that's going to stick with them. Like, there's been a few times where realtors have brought me something at a meeting and I remember it. I know exactly who they are. I know what they brought me. I'm like, oh my God, that was so nice. Or handwritten notes to me afterwards. I'm like, oh,
yeah, I did handwritten notes for like a week, and then they went to the wayside. You know, and I need to. And again, it goes back to that tracking. Like somebody just gave me this really, really comprehensive tracker, and it has, you know, how many, you know, what were your prospecting activities? It was like which phone calls would you make this week? Who did you make them to? You know, which events did you attend? You know, and it goes really granular. And then there's a whole page on like social media, like how many times did you post social? How many reels did you do? How many stories did you put? How many, you know, how many comments did you leave on a realtor's Facebook, or how many, you know, comments did you, how many, you know, realtors did you follow on Instagram? Like, every single day, every single week, because you want to put aside that time to do that too. And it's so granular. And I'm like, yes, you're right. And I'm not good at that.
You know, but something about that as you're speaking that kind of hit me is the best prospecting is the prospecting you'll actually do. Because as you're saying that, I'm like, God, I wouldn't be able to do all those things and track all of them all the time, right? It's like gift giving isn't one of my strengths. I wish it was. And maybe if I made it more fun for myself, I could do that and do that all the time. And like, that could be my niche. And then I could just like double down. That's what people would know me.
Right.
But it's not the thing that comes naturally to me. And not saying that you shouldn't do things that come naturally to you, but if you like it or good at it and it does come naturally to you, you're more likely to do it. And so like finding those kind of prospecting angles, I think that's the way, you know, it might not be giving a car wash to somebody while they're in the meeting with me, but maybe it is just like,
I feel like if you have a meeting with somebody and you can like just listening to them, like find one thing that they say, because you're asking, this is another thing that marketing animals always talk about. It's when you meet with somebody, you frog them. You ever heard of that?
No.
It's an acronym.
Okay.
It's, you ask them about their friends, their family. You ask them about their relationships. You ask them about their goals, their occupation, and then their goals.
Okay. Yep.
Right. So you're like, oh, family, well, you know, relationships, you know, with people, whatever. Oh, do you know this person? Occupation. Let's talk about your job. How did you get into real estate or whatever? And then goals, like, oh, what are you hoping to do for, you know? And so that's how you lead the conversation, but you get little tidbits of stuff, right? And so in that conversation, you find out that this person is a fan of, you know, going to the beach. They have a beach house, or, you know, and then you can you make that mental note, or even a physical note, if you're able to write something down, and then afterward, okay, I need to send them something like that, you know, from that conversation. Yeah. You know, so, you know, a written note is also nice and things like that. I always try to, like, after I meet with somebody, I, you know, shoot them a text message. I get into my car and I text them, hey, thanks so much for getting together today. Like, I'm looking forward to meeting you again, whatever. But it's you, and you do that gift like a week later.
Right.
You don't do it right away.
Right away, yeah.
You do it like
Give it
a
some
week
space.
later. Give it a little bit of space, and then you send it to them. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, hey, it was so cool that we met last week. I just, I saw this and thought of you.
I want to be a little gift giver. I think that's such a cute thing to be. I'm like starting to get into crafts. I'm like, God, I would love to do this. I should work on that.
Add that to your goals.
Maybe I will this
goal
year.
Sheet. But we are running out of time. Is there anything else that you feel like you want to focus on for next year, or that you think that like a really good best practice for people that are like setting up their business goals for the next year?
Well, personally, if there's something that I want to work on, is just more of the one-to-one meetings, because I think that's what I'm good at. It comes naturally to me, and I like doing it. Mm-hmm. Instead of doing more events and leadership things, I'm starting to say no to more of that kind of stuff. Because again, people, if they know you're capable and they know that you can do something, they're going to keep asking you to do it, especially if it's volunteer. So I think that's going to be a goal for myself. And yeah, I'm just excited to look back on what I've done this year, how many meetings I've had, who's converted, and make more lofty goals for next year and see if I can focus my time more. Yeah, that's what I got. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming out here
Thanks
today.
for having me, Bill. This was so wonderful. So fun.
Wonderful. I love it. Every time I get so excited about it.